Hello, my name's Julie. Thanks for joining me for today's video where I'm finally going to reveal my word of the year. I'm sure you already know what a word of the year is, which is why you clicked on this video. But just in case you don't, it's something that's very common in the planning community where people choose one word that they want to focus on throughout the year to help them reach particular goals. Although I've been planning since 2018, I'm quite new to this concept and I've only been doing it for a couple of years. In this video, which is going to be quite a chatty one, I'm going to be making my word of the year page and talking about the steps I need to follow to achieve it this year. I've never been one for New Year's resolutions, and to be perfectly honest, I was considering not having a word of the year this year, but I've decided to give it one more go in 2024. This was my word of the year last year, and as you can see, it was a rather ambitious one. I really loved the page that I made. I used stickers from liveloveposh and showed the seasons, spring, summer, autumn and winter. And in my setup video last year, I talked about how I would do a follow-up video and go through the steps that I hope to follow to achieve this goal. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. I didn't even write on the back of the page, which I accidentally cut with my X-Acto knife while I was making it. And although I had lots of ideas in my head at the time, one thing I've learnt and want to correct this year is that to make things happen, it helps to write them down. I'm going to be using the books Crafty Planner from liveloveposh and Miss Maker from Happy Planner, which are both a bit of a clue in themselves as to the word I've picked. Let's get started. You may already be able to see the word because I've penciled it in on the dot grid paper. I am somewhat of a perfectionist and I knew that if I tried to do it freehand, I just wouldn't be happy with it. I'm going to use a Pigma Micron size 10 pen to write the word, and while I'm doing that, I'll talk to you about why I chose this word for 2024. This was actually the very first word that popped into my head when I started thinking about a word of the year. It does seem rather a strange word for a planner, but if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that last year I wasn't completely satisfied with how I was using my planners. I felt there was a lot of repetition and they just weren't working functionally for me. I did wonder if I should put a little bit more time into looking at lists for ideas of words of the year and see what else I could come up with. But I did feel it's a little bit like the story you hear of people who are looking for a wedding dress. How they go from shop to shop, trying so many on and end up buying the very first one they saw. For me, the word plan just felt right. One of the things I really want to do in 2024 is make planning a habit. Although I love decorating my planner, last year I got really bad at filling it in and had to do an awful lot of back planning. I am more of a decorative planner, but if you saw my planner setup video for this year, you'll know that I'm going to be using my classic vertical planner as a creative journal, which will be really decorative. But I really want to work more on the functional side of planning, so I've bought myself daily sheets to use in an effort to help me out. I'm going to use icons from the Miss Maker sticker book to fill up the word plan. This is something I've done once before, several years ago, and I really like how it looked. These sticker book stickers from Happy Planner are my favourite of all stickers, and I have been hoarding them. But I'm using my stickers in 2024. And actually, when you cut up your stickers like this, you'll be surprised to find that a few go a long, long way. I really don't know why Happy Planner don't bring out more of these sticker book stickers. They've updated Miss Maker twice, but have mostly used craft icons. And the Planner Babe sticker book has mainly discs. The nearest we've come to it is the I Heart stickers or I Love stickers that they released last year. That does have a few planners and sticker books in it. But I think us planners can never have enough of sticker book stickers. After all, sticker books are what we love more than anything else. These sticker books are iconic Happy Planner. I'm not keen on the new covers at all, so I suppose if they ever did bring out new sticker book stickers, they won't look like this anyway. You'll probably be seeing these icons again when I do my spreads for National Sticker Day, which is on the 13th of January. Anyway, enough about stickers. I'm meant to be talking about why I chose this word as my word for 2024. Just to give you a bit of background, for those of you who are new to my channel, I used to be a teacher for many years. My last job was assistant head teacher, but I left teaching for a couple of reasons. One of which was the workload was completely unsustainable and I had zero work-life balance. Funnily enough, I didn't know anything about planning in those days. But even if I did, I don't think I would have had time to use a planner. The other reason was that teaching had changed really beyond recognition of what I got into it for. More and more it was becoming all about testing, levels, standards, paperwork. There was less and less freedom to teach what you felt the children needed to learn, and I really wasn't enjoying it in the way I had. I did do some tutoring in the years before COVID, but that was slightly older children. And of course, the schools closed during the pandemic, and I decided not to continue. My parents are in their 80s and my dad suffers from depression and my mum has quite a few health issues. I actually live next door to them and with quite a few appointments to go to, it just seemed right to be free to concentrate on helping them. Fortunately, I had some savings to live on, so that's what I've been doing ever since. I've added a definition because that's what planners seem to do to their Word of the Year page. So I've put a method for achieving an end, a detailed formulation of a programme of action. And I've put the word action in bold letters because that's what I really need to focus on, not just making a pretty page, but putting this word into action. It's looking a little bare at the top of the page, so I'm using some of my favourite washi just to add a bit of detail at the top. This was a monochromatic set from Gretel Creates, but I've not been able to find it ever since, which is a shame. I'm going to decorate the bottom of the page with some stickers from Live Love Posh's Crafty Planner. And then what I'm planning to do is use the back of the page to write a little bit more detail about this word, why I chose it, the steps I think I need to follow, and what I hope to achieve by focusing on it in 2024. I don't know on the whole how successful planners are with their Word of the Year, because of course you see a lot of Word of the Year setup pages in January, but not so many reviews of the word at the end of the year. However, I do think in order to be successful, it's not enough to make the page and put it at the front of your planner, where you may or may not see it. You really need to regularly review it. I'm just adding this Planner Happy Life washi tape from the Happy Planner. This came from the original Miss Maker release and is a bit of a unicorn, but it's perfect for this spread. I know some planners change their word in the middle of the year if it's not working, but I'm planning to stick with this word right through to December. So now let's get down to the nitty-gritty, which is what I actually intend to do. I decided I would ask myself 3 questions. Why did I choose this word? the steps that I need to take to achieve progress, and what I hope to achieve by the end of the year. As I'm a teacher, I'm very familiar with target setting and knowing that targets need to be SMART. At one point, I even considered changing my word to SMART or Plan SMART. For those of you who don't know that acronym, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timed. So I'm just writing why I've chosen the word plan, which is basically the fact that I know that when I write plans, I am more productive and get more done in a day. Often I have plans in my head, but I think I might as well just get on with doing them rather than stopping and writing them down. And that's always a big mistake because I end up getting distracted, not sticking to what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's much better if I have a written agenda for the day. The other thing I'm not very good at is planning realistically. I always have so much I want to accomplish in a day, and when I write it down on paper and start time blocking it, I realise there's no way I'm going to fit it all in. Just to give you an example of how hopeless I am, I might be planning to do a task such as washing, and I put down a set amount of time that I hope to accomplish that in, but in my mind all I think about is gathering up the clothes, putting them in the washer, switching the washing machine on. I completely forget to take into account that I'm going to have to take the washing out of the washing machine, put it on all the radiators around the house, iron it, fold it, put it away. So my time slot is completely unrealistic for that task. What I'm hoping for is that saying practice makes perfect, and that the more planning I do, the more realistic I get about the time I need to do certain tasks. And on the whole, my tasks are going to be similar throughout the year, such as household tasks and filming videos, editing videos. So I should get a clear idea of how long these things take and be able to plan more realistically. The first and obviously most important step is to plan, but I want to set the goal of planning every day. I've bought myself the daily sheets, as I said, and that doesn't mean I always have to fill out a sheet for every day. Sometimes when I don't get a lot done, I use the same sheet for a couple of days, particularly at the weekend when I do a lot of the same things, which is mainly filming and editing YouTube videos. But I need to make sure planning is happening. Most days it will be first thing in the morning when I get up, but sometimes I may plan the night before. My second step is to identify priorities. I often have a lot of things that I really want to do, but I need to ask myself, what are the things I must do? Because they're not always the same thing. There are 3 boxes at the top of the daily sheet to identify priorities, so that's useful. But what I've noticed is that my priorities are often social media related, and one of the things I really want to accomplish this year is greater balance. Step number 3 is to use time blocking. I've already been doing this for part of 2023, and I find it's much better to set aside a block of time rather than specific times. It's giving me more of an idea about how long certain tasks take, and I do think eventually it's going to help me be a lot more realistic about how much I can achieve in a day. For my next step, I've put to plan in breaks, because something else I've noticed when I've been planning is I just put task after task after task, and I don't even think about the fact that getting up and making myself a cup of tea or having a snack is going to take some time. Planning in breaks serves a couple of purposes, mainly to give me a break, but also if I am running a little bit behind, then it gives me a little bit of catch-up time. Step number 5 is to avoid distractions, and that's a hard one for me, particularly when it comes to social media. I do keep thinking I should spend just one day tracking everything I do to see how much time I spend on social media, reading, watching and scrolling. I did try using my phone app to set a limit, but unfortunately I just kept hitting ignore limit every single day. So this is definitely something I've got to improve on this year. That links with step number 6, which is to plan in social media time. And by social media time, I mean just looking at posts on Instagram, replying to comments, those sorts of things that aren't related to my YouTube channel. There are all sorts of interesting reels and stories that you could be reading on social media. But when I think a few years ago, I wasn't even on Instagram and I didn't even know what a reel was. I know that I can live without these things, and really, I've got other things I would rather be spending my time on. My 7th step is somehow I would like to find quicker ways of doing things. Unfortunately, this relates to my perfectionism. When I was a teacher and I had to mark a stack of books, I'm sure it would have taken other teachers maybe an hour, whereas it would take me 2 or 3. I'll give you a silly example from Instagram. When I'm posting to my stories, say I want to wish someone happy birthday, I don't just pick the first happy birthday from the library. If it doesn't look right, I have to type the word in again and look for another one. And sometimes I can do this 3 or 4 times. When you think of all the stories and reels that I'm making, if I'm doing that every single time, you can see how the minutes add up. And all because I'm being a perfectionist. The person whose birthday it is doesn't care whether the colour happy birthday matches the background exactly. So somehow this year I've got to learn to let these little things go. I think it will make a big difference. I thought that to keep things achievable, 8 steps was the maximum. So my last step is to make sure I am reflecting and reviewing each week on my word of the year. Hopefully I'll be able to see what's working and what isn't, whether my expectations are too high, whether my timings are accurate, and the aim is to get better week on week. I may try to include a section in my creative journal where I write a short weekly review. I've tried to make the steps I've written more measurable, but I also wanted to look back on this word at the end of the year and see if I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. So that's why I wrote this question, what I hope to achieve this year. First of all, I want to make planning a habit, which of course, if I am really planning every single day, it should become one. I also want to plan more realistically, so I'm not setting myself up to fail every day by putting too much on my to-do list. Hopefully I can learn to let those tasks that aren't so important go and get better on focusing on priorities. Obviously, I want to be more productive. I want to look back at the end of the day and know that I've ticked off most of the tasks I plan to do. And lastly, through planning, I'm hoping that I can achieve a greater balance, particularly between social media and everyday life. I want to get out more this year, spend more time with my family and friends, and also get back to crafting and scrapbooking, which I really love. I hope that by having a more detailed plan of how I'm working towards my word of the year, I will achieve a bit more success than I did in 2023. I found this quote, "Let the planning begin," in Crafty Planner, and I thought it was the perfect quote for this page. So I'm just going to finish by adding a little bit more decoration. I haven't used this book for a long time and there are so many lovely stickers. I want to get some of them used. I think I'll also add a tiny bit of washi just down the side to stop it looking so bare. I'd love to hear whether you've chosen a word for 2024 and what it is, and I'd be interested to hear how you track your progress through the year. I've been very honest in this video. It can be a little bit daunting talking about yourself on YouTube. You might think at 54 years of age, I've got life sorted, but that's definitely not the case. When you don't have a job and have to structure your own time, it can be quite tricky. Though I'm fully aware I'm in a privileged position of not having to work, though I do have to care for my parents. But since they looked after me, of course, I'm going to do the same for them. I think we're nearly done with this page. Just need to trim the edges. It looks really pretty, but to be honest, I'm concentrating more on the functional aspects of planning this year than the decorative. So that's my word of the year. And hopefully, even if I don't manage to do any follow-up videos, I will, at the end of the year, be able to share the progress I've made in 2024. I hope you found this video useful. And if you want to follow along on my planning journey, remember to subscribe to my channel for future videos. Wishing you all the best with your goals for 2024. Happy planning, take care, and see you soon.